The liver, I'm going to switch to a different model. So coming back up to this area, here we have the liver. The liver sits on the right side of the body, stomach on the right. Just letting you know, these aren't necessarily to scale. This is a pretty large stomach, relatively speaking, and a retardedly small liver, okay? So they're decently to scale, but they're not perfect, okay? So note that, I guess, especially when we look at the cats, you're going to see that the liver is actually proportionately much larger than this. However, I'm going to cover this liver model in a second. This is the liver model that we have. The liver in humans is not this big. Okay, so it's kind of somewhere in between there, just to kind of get an idea of what this would actually look like. So within the liver, you see this green organ right there. That's the gallbladder. The gallbladder is always associated with the liver because the entire function of the gallbladder is to store bile. Bile is produced by the liver, so they're obviously going to be associated with each other. Right, then we have the pancreas, and the pancreas you actually find in the first fold of the duodenum. So it's right here at the base of the stomach, and it really is just a piece of glandular tissue. That's all it is. It's obviously very specialized, but it's just this big, flat gland. And as we'll see when we look at it in the cats, it's really just embedded in the membrane attached to that first little kink in the duodenum. It's right here. And then within the pancreas, you need to know the pancreatic duct, and that's the white that you see inside the pancreas. Did you have a question, Joel?
That can only be seen once the transverse colon is taken off, right?
On this one, yeah. So if you actually have the transverse colon on the model, I think it covers the pancreas.
Okay.
Yeah, I think you're right. Okay, so now we're going to switch over to the liver. All right. So if you've noticed in this liver, there's a big vessel running right here. Knowing where the liver is located approximately in the body, who wants to guess what this big vein is? What's a big vein that we talked about with the vessels? Inferior vena cava, right? I'm pointing that out for two reasons. One, to help orient you about what's front and back and side to side on this liver, but also to point out that a lot of the organ models we have also have circulatory system structures on them. So, I mean, it would kind of be a mean question, but I would absolutely expect each and every one of you to know that this is the inferior vena cava if it was taken on an exam. Okay? So, note that that's fair game. And that's true for future veins and arteries that you see. Obviously, it has to be ones that we're asking you to know, but for example, with the renal system, some of the kidneys we have also have veins and arteries going to them. I absolutely expect that you know what those are. Okay? Alright, so this also helps us because we can decipher which is right and left and anterior and posterior now. The vena cava sits posterior in the body, so this is actually the posterior side up here, meaning this is the anterior side. Another way that you can tell that is the gallbladder sticks out right here. It sticks out just anterior, so it's kind of a little incropping and pouch, as we'll see when we look at the cats. It's just, it looks like a deflated water balloon. It's kind of cool. But if we look at this, you can also see here's the gallbladder sticking out anteriorly. Right? That's how it sits. Alright, that's also important because now we know that this is the left side and this is the right side. So whereas most of the models we look at, left and right are switched, this is actually one model that's positioned correctly. So literally it's like they took a liver and just flipped it up like that. Okay, so it's left and right or your left and right when you're looking at it. And that's important because the first thing you'll be identifying the liver are the hepatic ducts, and you need to know left from right. So the hepatic ducts, basically the top 4 IDs for the liver are going to be dealing with the bile system. Okay, so they're going to be in green. So this green vessel right here on the left side is the left hepatic duct. This one on the right is the right hepatic duct. When they join together right here, they become the common hepatic duct, just kind of like we saw with vessels in the cardiovascular system, which is kind of nice. Now, leading from the gallbladder, there's this relatively thin relative to the gallbladder, but kind of fat vessel here. That's the cystic duct coming off of the gallbladder. And where the cystic duct meets the common bile or the common hepatic duct, that's where it becomes the bile duct. So here you can just see where those two join. We were to put a sticker there, it would be right smack dab on that little yellow dot, right where those two meet. That's the common bile duct. Just for the sake of kind of tying function to identification, after here, actually the bile duct will go into the pancreas, where it, along with the pancreatic juices, dump into the duodenum. So this is like a nice little system because it's made here. You're not eating; it just gets stored in the gallbladder, and then when needed, from either the liver itself or from the gallbladder, it dumps into the duodenum. That's why if the gallbladder gets infected or you get stones, which often happens because it's producing bile, which is prone to getting stones, you can actually live fairly well without your gallbladder because you don't necessarily need the storage to survive. All right, the last two on this list are veins. Now, like I mentioned earlier, the liver is responsible for filtering blood. So if you look in this, you'll see that we have our blue for veins, red for arteries, but there's also this kind of off-white pinkish set of vessels running through as well that, as you can see by the internal color, contains blood. This is the hepatic portal system. That's what's shown in this off-red color, off-white color. So all of the ones that you see here are hepatic portal veins, and most likely we would put a sticker on this specific vein here for the hepatic portal vein, but technically these are hepatic portal veins too, so we could do those ones. And then simply the hepatic vein, those are the ones in blue. So you can see them over here, but most likely going to sticker it here just because that one's obviously much larger and the sticker fits on it. So here's your hepatic vein. All right. Any questions? Yes.
Where's the cystic duct?
The cystic duct is right here. So it's what leads from the gallbladder to the common bile duct. Right here. I saw another hand. Is there another question? Okay, so let's reconvene and